sharing.
Yeah, and then this is about who wants to be taking minutes as a secretary for the meeting.
I can help taking the minutes until 7:30 sharp.
Okay.
Yeah, I can help. Also until 7:30 sharp, because I have to start teaching a lesson at 8.
Okay. Is anyone against? I don't think so. Cal, okay. So I take it you're okay, Cal. So then we are opening up with agreeing on the agenda. Does anyone have any remarks, or should we just go ahead? Yes, Mav? I can't hear you. Maybe the hardware microphone is muted.
Yeah. Looks okay now. Mob moved a point from discussion to decision.
Which point?
Statutes update.
Yes. I think it was placed there to start with, no? Or did you displace it once and twice? I mean, at least for me, it seems straightforward because we will agree on which version of the text we submit to the council meeting. Is everyone clear on this?
Yeah. Mob is going to, he'll just focus on getting his audio to work. I suppose we can either, yeah. Okay, thanks, Alessandro.
Yep. So let's agree on the agenda, line 119, and on the minutes of the previous meeting, 128. Okay, so there were no decisions taken in between our meetings, so we can directly get into it. About the decisions, we take without any discussions, and this is left blank because depending on what we decide for the council meeting, it might impact the next board meeting scheduling. So here, directly to decisions with discussions. So about the next board meeting. It is planned by default on the 24th of August because it's the last Sunday. And one of the ideas will be to have the council meeting on the 31st. So having the board meeting 1 week in advance would allow us to discuss things a little bit regarding the organization. I think it makes sense. Is it a problem for someone if it's on this on the 24th?
The board meeting is fine for me on the 24th. It's a bigger problem with the council meeting.
Yeah, as you said. It shouldn't be.
I'm working 7 to 7, 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening on that particular Sunday. I might get lucky and be able to get away from work a little bit, but there is no guarantee. I might get, like, we might have yet another volcanic eruption or some other crazy thing happen. There is no guarantee.
Well, I think that should be okay because this board meeting shouldn't be a very big one.
So
Yeah,
I'm fine with I'm able to attend the board meeting. I'm not able to attend anything on the 31st.
okay. Anyone else want to discuss the board meeting schedule, or should we formally decide?
For me, August 24th is fine.
Okay. So let's vote on line 163.
Carl, are you still with us?
I am.
Can you vote in the pad?
Okay, so here it's the point about the statutes update. There's a new Luxembourgish law which will apply from September on. And to make sure we tie our ends, the council meeting should ideally approve an update of the statutes. So everything is neatly laid out. There's a link to the discourse where Numero 6 did some work on this. I had a look. I don't have anything to bring up. It looks good to me, so I think we can submit this as it is. There's maybe one only little detail about a special type of person. As the board, we are administrators, but then we can also have delegates to the day-to-day management. And in my head, that can sound like the Secretary General position we just created. And as per this new legislation, it should be detailed and laid out in the statutes. So maybe there's this little thing missing. As it is, the text can be sent. There's only this little detail that should get added, depending on what we think about the subject. What do you guys think? I think it would be quite easy to approve the submission of this text plus a little added article about the day-to-day management persons.
I think it's pretty clear.
Okay, so while you continue thinking, I will write down the proposal. What I just said. So proposal is
Approve?
to it's to submit the statutes updated text. Yes, Alessandro?
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong. For the next council meeting, we would like to propose a status update, right? And this is the proposal, correct?
Yes. Here we are agreeing on if we already have a text to submit or if we want to define a bit more what it should look like.
No, okay. So I'm fine with the text. The thing is, there is a special quorum for status changes, right?
Yes, there's a need for a quorum.
Yeah. So we need to check, and if we really want to have this approved by the next council meeting, first we need to check that the quorum the threshold
Met.
is met, and then if not, we have to endorse. I mean, we have to be sure that the participation will be enough to ensure the quorum. Otherwise, it would be a really waste of time.
Well, not really, because that's the only point on the council meeting, but if it cannot happen, it will be postponed. There's no point in stressing over it now, because the only thing we can do is try to make sure enough people are attending.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So apologize for the problem. Don't know why it was a setting in my computer that just didn't have volume in my microphone.
Do you want to add anything?
Sorry, I haven't really been able to listen because I've been totally focused on getting it to work. Where are we on the agenda?
Talking about the statutes update. So I took it upon myself to explain maybe what you wanted to do yourself. But it's basically agreeing now on what to submit to the council meeting. I explained the silent points and I wrote down the proposal that we are about to vote on. Is there anything that we might have missed, anything of importance you want to underline?
No, but I haven't read that proposal, so I don't know if it's actually final or not.
It's line 175, and it will be final as to submit the text which is already on the website, to which the forum threads points, with the addition of an article about the day-to-day delegation.
I mean, this is not my area of expertise at all. The statute is very much in the hands of the board and the council. I trust you to know if it's ready to be presented or not.
Yeah, okay. So if there are no further comments, let's decide on this, starting from line 177.
So there's one copy in English and one copy in French.
Yes, but in doubt, we would submit the one in French, along with the translation. But yeah, I didn't check if we can deposit stuff in English. I don't remember. Mab?
Well, the statutes of the organization is in English, and then there's a French translation that the Luxembourgish authorities recognize as the valid one. So both versions have to be the same, but the organization works in the English one, and then we translate and then we submit. So the proposals need to be the English proposal that you propose to the members, and then you have to hope that the translation is adequate. Also, in the statutes, you have to propose it as amendments. So basically, you have to write it as we propose to change this line from this to this, change this line from this to this. Any other option is, of course, to say we replace all the statutes with this new document, but then that entire change would fall under the most difficult change of the statutes, which is normally reserved for just a few paragraphs. So you would benefit from actually pinpointing which paragraphs are changed and then proposing those changes rather than say, this is the new statutes.
I get your points, but from my perspective, the only ones which are valid are the ones in French then. Because it's the ones recognized in the register and stuff. So of course it will have to be translated at least in English, because we want people to understand. And noted on how to do it through amendments.
I think that's actually really important, a really important point.
Can I just flag that the statutes clarify this? English will be the working language of the association. Any initiatives and proposal can only be adopted if they have been translated into English prior to the start of the decision-making process on the level of the association. So you can propose French statutes now, I suppose, but they have to be in English by the time of the meeting starts, and it's on the English text that the meeting need to decide.
Yeah, but what I'm only saying is that the council meeting should understand that the legally binding statutes are the ones in French. They will be presented with translation. But
no. They need to decide on an English text, and then the translation need to be adequate. But the English text needs to come first, and then it's translated to French that we submit. It also clarifies in the statutes, in the event of divergence or doubt between these statutes in the original version in English and any version in another language, the English language version prevails. It's Article 3 of the statutes.
yes.
I think it's important that we use the correct language version here, regardless of what the local legislation requires. I don't think that in itself is a problem. What I do think is a very salient point, however, is, well, how we propose this. Whether we propose it as a change to one or more specific points or paragraphs in the statutes, or whether we propose it as a change to the complete statutes. Now, I'm not entirely sure I am familiar enough with it to say whether it's adequate for that at the moment, but I get the impression that this proposal, as it is right now, is not, well, is unnecessarily, makes things unnecessarily difficult for us. So maybe we can take a little bit of time to adjust it and vote for it, before the end of the week. That's
Go
all I
ahead,
have
Cal.
to say.
Does the register require us to have a French statute?
Yeah, the legal document has to be in French because we're submitting it to a Luxembourgish authority.
Alessandro?
Yes, so there is no doubt that if the Luxembourg authorities requires us to have the legal text in French, of course we have to provide it to them in French. Nonetheless, for us, for our internal purposes, we can translate it in many language as we want, including English, and also Italian or Spanish or Catalan or whatever. So the thing is, in my opinion, we have to be sure for every member to understand correctly, because maybe that first of all, we have the legal document in French, the proper and the correct legal document in French, and then that we have a decent English translation. That's it.
Mab.
No, you don't have an English translation. If you read the statutes have to be in English. Then you have a French translation. Now, if the French authorities require you to have the legal text in French, well, then you have to have both, and they have to be identical, and all decisions have to be taken on the English text. That is clear in the statutes. Then you would have to translate them, and you would have the responsibility to make sure that that translation is accurate before you send it in to the Luxembourgish authorities, if they demand it in French, which they might, I don't know. But for the purpose of the organization, you have an obligation to present amendments in English, to vote on them in English, and make all decisions in the English version.
Alessandro, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you're right that, of course, towards the organization, we have to do it in English and then translate it in French. The thing is that we cannot have a document for our, because we are a Luxembourgish organization that is not valid. It's not legally valid. So, I mean, you can say whatever you want in your statutes, but the national law prevails always. So this means that, in my opinion, we should change the status also to reflect Luxembourgish law and make the official language French. That's my idea. Thank you.
Well, then you may need to make a proposal to change paragraph 3 of the statutes, but that is not on the table at the moment. No one has proposed that. So you would have to make a proposal to change that and then add that to the agenda. And that proposal need to be in English.
Yes, but yeah, you're right, but I am proposing it. I mean, nobody did it until now. And the reason it's easy because I wasn't aware, my fault, my bad, that the legal document has to be in French.
Do you want to go ahead, Bastian?
Yes, good evening. I want to disturb you in your work, but PPEU has a history and it was not registered. It was only founded in Belgium, and we moved to Luxembourg, and then we presented a organization there, and we put a English version of that statutes and provided for, and it's okay for a Luxembourgish registration office. And they, to be sure that everybody can understand that, you need an official French translation. But our language we speak all together here, according to our statutes, is English, not French. And I think we did it about 13 years in English, and we should go forward with English, not with French. Otherwise, we get other problems with our members. Thank you.
Thank you, Bastian. Sarah?
This is a fairly common way of doing things when you're registering organizations. When I had to, or when I worked in anti-money laundering and had to do research on organizations and their legal status, it was quite common that statutes were registered in more than one language. So I don't see any reason why that should be any kind of issue here.
Alessandro?
Yeah, thanks, Florian. I agree with Sarah. I mean, there is absolutely no kind of issue. The thing is that, as far as understood, reading Numerosys notes and also the link posted, that English is not an official language in Luxembourg. So the document must be in French and can be, of course, for our internal purposes, also in English. And I totally agree that we use English because all our we have English as a common language. Maybe not all our member can fluently speak and understand French, but I mean we cannot present a document that has no valid and I don't know how to say equally legally valid French translation. That's my point. Thanks.
Mab?
So, which Luxembourgish law are you referring to? Are you guessing that since it's not an official language, you can't have statutes in that language? Or are you knowing that that is the law? Because from ChatGPT says that it doesn't explicitly say a language, but in practice, they want at least a translation into French or German. So unless you know that there is actually a legal requirement for it to be in French or German, which seems to be also allowed in Luxembourg, then I would assume that they will be happy with the French translation as long as it's accurate. So the way I see it, the only problem is that the board will have to ensure that the French translation that the Luxembourgish authorities will look at is an accurate translation. And then, of course, if we ever end up in a court situation, the Luxembourgish authorities might interpret the French text as the legal document. But for all internal issues in the organization, which is what mostly happens, we will have to interpret the English text as the accurate one. And as long as they are the same, this is not a problem.
Sarah, go ahead.
It sounds to me like you're both talking about the same thing using different words. Mob is identifying that we must have a document in English and in French, and so is Alessandro. I would like to propose that we put a pin in it and move forward, and then come back to this under any other business.
Mab?
The way I understood Alessandro, the difference is that he thinks we need to change paragraph 3 to say that the official text is the French one, whereas I say we can continue as we will always have, and that will not cause any problem as long as we keep doing French translations before we send them in to the French authorities.
Alessandro?
I'll keep it shortly. Yeah, Mab got the point. The thing is that you also had a good point before. So until we don't know that the law requires us, the Luxembourgish law requires us 100% French or Germany or Luxembourgish language as legal languages, so English is not a legal language, I shouldn't propose to change Article 3 or whatever. But the minute we saw it, the minute we should change it. Thanks.
So I don't really know what to do because the statute is part of the council meeting agenda, which is on the next point. So do you want to postpone this or to try and have an agreement? The base idea is that it's a bad idea to get the council meeting to agree on an English text if down the line what is submitted and legally binding is a French text. We can simply submit both at the same time, but down the line someone has to trust that something is a good translation, and maybe we are a bit unclear on what the register considers as valid. Mab?
Yes, it has never been a problem before. The statutes that already was submitted to Luxembourgish authorities had a paragraph saying that in a legal dispute, the organization has the English text to prevail. And the Luxembourgish authorities have never, as far as I understand, questioned this paragraph that they have seen translated to French that states that the English text prevails. So as long as they haven't complained, I don't see why we need to address it. And we can continue to work in English as the statutes require us to do and as we've always done.
So they have not picked up on it because they probably have not read it, but it's still something worth investigating as a safety, like, yeah, it's basically tying up things. making sure things are covered.
Do you think it's worth delaying these statute changes that we have in front of us until we've investigated this? Or should we let whoever wants to investigate that do that and come back to it once it's investigated?
Cal?
I'd say we amend the English version and then we submit it in whatever language they want.
But hey, what I'm proposing is that we submit to the Council both a French and English version. This way, the Council stamps both, and everything is solved. Or was I not clear? Mab?
Well, you can't have the council vote on both texts because the statute says that they need to vote on the English text. So you can send a French text, and then you can say, is this a correct translation of the proposal? But the decision have to be on the English text, and then the French interpretation has to reflect that decision, because that is what our current statute says.
Yes, you're right, Mab. The thing is, they decide on the English version, and what, as far as understood, Florian is proposing is also to have an accurate and precise translation in French, and we propose this translation to be voted as well, right? So it's right that the council will decide on the English text, but that they can decide also that the translation is accurate enough to be submitted into the Luxembourgish register.
So the motion can be in English, but the text may not be in English, like the document might not be in English, Sarah?
Exactly.
So the way I understand your respective suggestions or your respective points is that Florian and Alessandro want the board, want the council to vote on both an English text and a French text, which goes against our statutes.
But to me, it's more important. It's more important that the council.
May I finish my sentence first?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify something, but go ahead.
Yeah. Partly, I want to make sure that I understand your points of view and Mob's, and that there is a way to address this. So, there is a difference between voting and reading. There is a difference between formal and informal. Formally, the council must vote on a text that is in English. That does not mean that text cannot be translated or that there cannot be a French version of it presented at the same time. However, if this is going to be done correctly according to the statutes and not require any additional amendments, as I understand Mob is saying, the way to do this correctly would be to propose provide the proposal in English and attach the French version. The English version will be formally voted on, and the French version will be presented for feedback. Have I understood these differences correctly? And is this a way forward? That is, we present both texts. One is presented informally. To answer your question, Alessandro, the translator takes responsibility for the French version. The council cannot and is not authorized to take responsibility for the French version. That's why you would propose it as a for feedback. All right, that's all I had to say there. Go ahead, Mob.
Mob.
Yeah, so there's a few important things here. The reason they can only vote on one text and not both is that they need to be able to make amendments. So they can propose changes to the English text. And then, of course, we can't vote on a French text. They can't be forced to also make amendments to French text. Those changes have to be done to that French text after it has been adopted. Therefore, we can only vote on one text, which has to be the English one according to the statutes. Now, which version will have the force of law? That depends on very much what scenario. But unless the French authorities say otherwise, our statutes is clear that the English text has the force of law. So it shouldn't be a problem. Unless there's a huge difference and we get into a fight with the Luxembourgish authorities, then there might be a problem. But most of our discussions about statutes is with our members and not with the Luxembourgish authorities. So I wouldn't be too worried. I mean, basically, I'm saying we should do like we've always done. And so far, we've managed to do it without a problem. Don't create a problem when there isn't one. When there isn't one.
I have to agree with Mob here. That we work on the English one only and then translate it.
Yeah, but then the council meeting should be clear on the fact that they are voting on an English text, which will then be submitted in French to the
Yeah.
register. My only concern is that the council needs to understand what happens.
This is in the statutes. The council is required to know the statutes.
Yeah, but to me, it costs absolutely nothing to provide two texts at the same time.
And no one's saying
Alessandro?
you can't. No one is saying you can't. You can absolutely provide two texts. You just can't ask them to vote for both texts. Does that make sense?
Alessandro, please.
Yeah. So both Mabans are right. The only thing is, so let's we can skip the French version in the next council meeting. The only important question has been made by Carl that asked which version, which language have as the force of law. So until now, we assume, because of nobody told anything else, that is English. That English can be the valid language that has the force of law. What I'm saying is, if so, let's do the thing as we always done before. The thing is, I suggested also the board investigates and clarify which languages has the force of law, and if eventually it comes out that it will be French, the French version, then I am sorry. First of all, we need to change the statutes because the statutes cannot go against the law. And second, we have to approve in the next council meeting the full version in French. That's my final understanding. Thanks.
At this point, I will cut the discussion short. Write down your proposal somewhere so we can have something to look at.
Mine, last proposal?
Yeah,
Sure.
below the point, write down what you think should be the way forward. Anyone? All of you?
So I see only a couple of proposals, mine and Florian one.
There's one more, but I just propose we rephrase the
Sorry.
proposal itself
I was
to
looking at the
focus.
minute. Sorry.
So let's see here.
Is it clear for everyone that all three proposals, to me, they don't seem to be exclusive? Alessandro sets the language basically in his proposal. My proposal is about the content we should submit with the addition of an article on a specific thing, and then Sarah suggests the form it should take, like through amending the articles rather than changing all of the statutes.
Yes.
So this is online, starting on line 178. Millie, I don't know if you noticed, but you have 3 separate votes for each of the proposals.
I'm just reading them.
Okay. Okay, so this is done. So on to the next point, which is about the time and place for the 19th council meeting. So the idea will be to have it in a little bit more than 1 month, during the last Sunday of August on the 31st, starting from 2 p.m. So it's a bit expanding on the next point, but the idea of this council meeting will be to discuss the update of these statutes, maybe provide an update on the activities of the organization, as well as examine another European citizen initiative and decide on the inactive board members. Because the constraint here is that we need to register the new board, and we cannot register the new board in its entirety while these persons are still here. Does anyone has anything to share first on the date of this council meeting? And Sarah, yes, well noted that you could not be available. Mab?
Well, if there's a problem for one board member to attend and we still need to work on the kinks on the statute proposal, and we also have the problem of needing to reach quorum, I would suggest we have it 1 week later if that date is better for everyone. It gives us a little bit more time.
Yeah, okay. So I will write it down and we will vote on both. This way we can have quick clarity. Does someone want to share something about this subject, or can we already settle between the two options? Okay, so I take it we can vote. So please decide starting from line 199.
What's the reason for the other proposed date?
So the initial proposal was the end of August.
Yeah.
Because basically it ties to an earlier decision, and then MAB suggests the 7th to have 1 more week, so we can have as many people present as possible, as well as clear out the problems which were brought before in this meeting. Is it clear? Do you need more details?
No, it's fine. Just to know why is there like a second proposal or like second date proposal really?
Okay, this seems to be settled. So now about the agenda for this council meeting. There is a summary of the essential things to be touched upon on line 213. So about the inactive board members, about the statutes update, and about the ECI. And then the formal draft agenda is below from line 222. So the major difference between the two is that it contains a little point about updating the council on what happened in the organization. Does anyone have remarks, something to add, something to change? If not, then we can decide or formally vote starting from line 246. Okay, thank you. And because we are nearing the 1 hour mark, do you guys want to push ahead or to stop here?
I can remain for 15 more minutes. Then I really have to go because I have to work.
I can
Okay.
go for 5 more minutes.
So 5 more would be still useful in relation to the point after this about the 20th council meeting. So unless someone protests, I will continue. Okay, so the next point about the 20th council meeting was added because if in the 19th meeting some board members are removed, that means that there are vacant spots which should be voted in a following council meeting. Here there are two different views. This view that we would want to have new board members as soon as possible. And then MAB suggests that maybe it's not worth the energy and that we should refocus and finish up on the onboarding process in order to have a more effective term next year. So do you think it might be sensible to have a 20th council meeting or not? Alessandro?
The problem is, if in the case that we are dismissing a vice chairperson, are we obliged to reopen the position or not?
So it's a bit ambiguous. I will have to check. Technically, we are obliged to open the position, but we are obliged to do it at the following council meeting. So we can very much decide to not have a council meeting for some time, or at least to not call it ourselves.
I got it. I got the point. Thanks.
And yes, and we don't know yet if they will be removed. I don't know what will happen if they are not. But yeah, we don't have to decide on having a meeting. It's just so that we have this thing in mind. Alessandro?
Yeah, that was exactly my point. So I think that we shouldn't decide now, and we will decide after.
Mab?
If you read the Secretary General report, I've been in touch with the Slovenian pirates who might be interested to host a council meeting at the end of January or first week of February next year.
Yeah, okay. So there might be a good opportunity for a council meeting later in Slovenia, but the subject here is, do we want to have new board members as soon as possible in the event of Marek and Linia are dismissed in the 19th council meeting?
I suppose we can't do it on one meeting, like dismiss them and then elect new ones if there are rather, how to say it, if someone like just wants to do it on the spot.
No, we can't do on the spot. That's the thing, we cannot do on the spot. So yeah, we can just decide to leave this open for after the council meeting. But then maybe we want to schedule a board meeting right after that, or maybe not. In any case, we can take decisions outside of the meetings if need be, so we can discuss and decide. Okay, so at this point we decide to postpone it. Or rather, I will not say postpone, I will say that we drop considering it. If that's okay for you, this means that we can forget about it. Okay, so the next point is a big one. Are you up
Sorry,
for
I
it? Sarah,
was
yeah.
left late there. Sorry about that. Just for clarification,
Yeah.
wouldn't the 20th council meeting just be the next council meeting? So if the 19th is on the 7th of September, the 20th could be in January or February.
So the 20th can be whenever we want to have the one after the 19th. We can decide to have it
Yeah.
before
You're
or
just
a bit
suggesting
later.
that we postpone the decision until after the meeting, the council meeting, the 19th council meeting.
So no, what I put in the minutes is that we drop considering it for now.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Okay, so the following point is about the Secretary General and its mandate. The proposal is to attribute some areas and mandates to the Secretary General, as well as include them automatically in some activities of registration. So nothing is too unlike what it was to be operating and cooperating with MAB. The main difference maybe is that it would prompt us to formally invite him to the board email. And then, yeah, attributing some areas, social media, IT tools, website and forum, and the Open Collective. Alessandro?
Sorry, I really need to go, but I would like to ask a question. By the way, if you don't change the text of the proposal at point 2.7, as far as it involves the money, I already vote in favor. Of course, if you change the text, you have to remove my vote because I cannot read it anymore. So please take it into account. But
I'm not sure we will push you without you.
okay, never mind. If you don't change the text, I already read it and vote in favor. If you change something, of course, I can't be sure that you have to remove the vote. That's clear, okay? But regarding this, why should have to do this? I mean, why we need to have this clarification in written text and approved? That's my question. Thanks.
So MAB will be able to answer in details, but my understanding is that after being appointed as Secretary General, they had to look at what they wanted to do, what they could do, and the mandate we gave them. And MAB felt like it was not clearly defined enough. MAB?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Basically, I want to be able to, I don't want to do the things that I have listed here. I want to be able to recruit volunteers to do these things. And I can't give them the mandate to do things unless I have a clear mandate to do it myself. So I can't say to someone, please manage the social media accounts if I'm not completely convinced that I have the mandate to manage the social media accounts. So I can't recruit people to do social media unless it's clear that I'm responsible for accounts. I can't recruit a head of IT unless I'm clear that I'm responsible for the IT stuff. I can't ask our external company that we work with to do things for me unless it's clear that I have the mandate. I work quite well with them currently, so I don't think that is a huge problem as such. But basically, this clarifies for everyone involved, so that when I go to Miklas and I say, please do this on this course, he doesn't have to say, has the board approved that? Because he can see this decision and say, okay, you have the mandate to ask me to do that. Yeah, that was just an example very recently when I asked him to do something, and he basically asked me to check with the board. And I don't want to have to do that for all small things that is supposed to be my work.
Okay.
So therefore, I want a clear decision on what I can do.
It's clear, Mab. So I really need to go. And again, I already vote yes. If you change something, remove my vote. If you don't, take it as valid. And thank you very much. It was a pleasure to see you all, and see you next time. Thank you. Sorry, I'm really sorry that I have to leave. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem, Alessandro. So given that there's still a lot of things to touch on and that Alessandro is leaving, I suggest that we suspend the council meeting, the board meeting here, and all the points will be voted on the discourse. I will take it upon me to open the threads so we can agree on what we vote on, and then I will see it that we vote on it. So hopefully this should be resolved in under 2 weeks. Yeah, that's quite doable. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for streaming this on YouTube. Thank you, Numerosis, for your work on the statutes. Very appreciated. And yeah, see you at the next board meeting and most probably at the next council meeting as well. (1942).
Okay. All right. Bye.
Thank you guys. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.